GM, welcome to the channel. In today's video, giving you an update on the macro right now. There's a few things to be aware of coming into today and the rest of this week. Plus, we're looking at the BNB token burn. So a massive token burn has just taken place, and I've got some trade setups for you or some potentialities, not financial advice. So make sure you stick around for all of that. If you're looking for somewhere to do your crypto taxes this year, check out Coin Tracking down here. The best platform I found so far. Discount code in the pinned comment down below, and obviously that video you can see on screen as well to guide you through how that works coming into the various tax seasons for the UK and US. We're going to start here with the BTC chart though, and a quick update here. So as you can see, we've consolidated around $21,000. Looking pretty decent at this point, but a couple of headwinds today to look at. If we do get a pullback, which I kind of am hoping / expecting for here as the US markets return. Typically when the US markets have 3 days off, that long weekend, the New York session opens and there's a bit of revenge in the air. And we get some nasty movements typically to the downside. That's just looking at some historical context. And the market makers in New York City letting you know they are back in business. So potentially we could have a nice pullback here on our hands. I don't know if this will happen, but if it does, we're looking for a maximum down to around $19,300. If it starts going below there, this is a bull trap, but a higher low in this region around here would be very nice and sets us up for some more continuation. Then we're looking towards the weekly swing top around 22,600 odds. And I'm starting to see a lot of people post charts around the 3 arrows liquidation candle. Unironically, these guys are starting up a brand new exchange. Did cover that last night. Go and check that out, called GTX, crazy freaking stuff. And that is a potentiality now on the cards at around $26,000. We'll take this level by level, however, and not get ahead of ourselves. I'm just trading between levels at this point in time. And if we do get some bullish continuation, trying to find plays that have potential catalysts and are playing catch up. There are some laggards still out there to be had. Over to the S&P 500. So this is where there could be some shenanigans today. A lot of people expecting a pullback. Some saying, look, we've got no real issues ahead until we get to around this kind of region, around the 40-80 kind of points here. So maybe we can rally into this area. If you do pull a bit of a trend line from the tops, that does kind of match up neatly as well. We could have a rally into here and a rejection potentially, but we'll see what happens. And as I say, just take this day by day. Over on Forex Factory, you can see some of the big movers and shakers currently in the market. So the World Economic Forum, boo. These guys are meeting over in Davos in an annual conference. This is where the big money bags, central bankers, prime ministers, etc. meet up and talk economics and finance and how they're going to do things for their greater good. So this can sometimes influence financial markets if they do come out with some big headlines. So something to be aware of. There's a couple of earnings here for some big banks. Morgan Stanley, this is scheduled today. They're actually supposedly going to have quite a bad call, but that is actually expected at this point in time. Plus Goldman Sachs as well. Here they have their earnings call coming out today. A lot of banks had theirs last Friday, most of them coming in as expected or just beating earnings, which is quite cool. Due to the fact it means the markets aren't going to rug us imminently. But you can see here the expected for Goldman Sachs. We'll see how this plays out today. But those are the kind of headwinds in our face for the next 24 hours or so. Now on to the main story of today, BNB token burns. So over $500 million worth of BNB, 500 odd million have been taken out of circulating supply here. 145,000 tokens burned by a mechanism. So there's two mechanisms in play here. They have the ongoing chain burns. So essentially a proportion of gas fees on the BNB chain get burned each and every day. And they also have a pioneer burn program as well. We'll just go over these two, but just to get you up to speed here, over 100 million BNB or half of the total supply are intended to be removed by Binance over time through their burning processes, taking their total down from 200 to 100 million. And they do this on an each and every quarter basis. So this has been going on for some time. We are now on our 22nd quarter and 22nd token burn taking place by Binance here. So auto burn and pioneer burn program. The auto burn is calculated by a formula stated here based on the usage of the BNB chain, and the pioneer burn program is based on lost coins. So if you were to lose your coins, maybe you send them to the wrong chain. I'm not totally sure how people go about losing their coins, but if you go down to here, the pioneer burn protects users who do lose their coins. They can submit a ticket to Binance. They will then replace the lost coins for the individual and burn the same subsequent amount as well. So a total comes to 2,064,000 BNB burned, $575 million at today's valuation. 7,000 in the Pioneer program and 2,057,000 from the real burn. It's kind kind of a similar copy pasta of the way Ethereum burns ETH, the asset, over time, dependent on chain usage. Now, one thing I did find interesting within the article tucked in here was they referenced the October 7th, 2022 hack. Token Hub bridge was exploited. So if you think back to this period, there was a minting function, I believe, and a load of BNB tokens were minted out of the blue. And of course, this had a huge shortfall effect for users on the BNB network. It says, though, the BNB token was increased in supply as a result of this to effectively make users whole. So they increased from 200 million max supply to 202 million max supply. But out of those additional 2 million tokens, 1.02 mil were locked. So that still leaves you with 980,000 tokens that did make it back to the market there. So this could potentially negate some of the burning that we have seen. And when you put it into that context, this burn is not as big as the previous ones, as they kind of use a little bit of creative accountancy there and don't throw that one out in the main headline, although that is of course going to affect the market dynamics here. You can see some of the previous burns here, well, all the previous burns here going back to the Genesis. First burn was just under 1 million BNB tokens. You can see as they were scaling up, they were burning more and more tokens. We went through bull markets, bear markets, less burns, bull markets, more burns, etc., etc. And the most recent ones coming in October, around the October 13th or 14th, 2022 date. And now the most recent here on the 17th of January here. So both over 2 million BNB getting taken out of circulating supply, which is an interesting proposition with the potentiality for a pullback today. This one has not caught a bid off the back of this burn yet. Maybe people haven't woken up to this right about now, but this is some positive news that could affect price going forward. So if we just scroll down to the BNB chart here, you can see their sell-off from that fateful November date when FTX blew up. They were around $330 per BNB token. There are now less tokens in circulation. So should the price, as we've seen with Bitcoin and many other assets, reclaim this 8th of November date, then BNB should be above 330 if that logic is to make sense. So 330 from a rough price right now of about 300, you're looking at about a 10% move. If we just look in the DeFi Llama stats here, just to see what's happening on their chain, you can see some of the biggest protocols here, Venus and BiSwap. Both of these have working products and over the last month have seen more inflows of TVL here. So my logic is if BNB starts to move, there could be an echo bubble for these tokens, which have not moved right now. And as you can see, Venus is actually down on its BNB related price. So just coming down to the 180 days, so the last 6 months, this is the November drop off. Venus was at $5.20, so it's roughly 484. You're looking at a 10% move to get back to there. But we can see back to this period here. So around this point in October was with the previous burn. How did this one react to the previous Binance BNB token burn? It went from 450 up to a peak of around $5.40. So quite interesting there. But BiSwap for me, a bit more interesting. This one's showing a little bit of strength here, up 1% against BNB on the day. Market cap just $72 million. Now, if we go down to the November date for this one, so that sell-off from FTX, BiSwap was actually at 25 cents. So this one's got a lot more ground to recover, in my opinion. 19 cents up to around 25 cents. That's almost a 30% move there. And if you look at the October BNB burn around this level, it went from 23, 24 cents up to around 26 cents. So seemingly there is some positive correlation around BNB token burns, BNB pumping, and then these ecosystem plays also pumping. But in my opinion, it looks like BiSwap maybe has the greater upside potential for this move. Not financial advice, this may not play out, just what I'm looking at in the market. If you find that interesting, drop me a comment down below. Now, if you're Alameda and FTX, you would think they are done being liquidated, but apparently not. So this was something I found on Kobe's Twitter the other day. He was saying, look, the people who are trying to liquidate the assets intentionally, to get dollars out for all the creditors are actually making a bit of a pig's ear of it on chain. He was tracking their on-chain activities and saying, look, they're actually getting liquidated erroneously as they don't know what they're doing. So they haven't got experts in. Alameda got liquidated again is the tweet here. $42,000, $25,000 and $16,000 of wrapped Bitcoin as they're trying to unwind positions. So the people in charge right about now don't know what they're doing. They're trying to repay some loans and then getting caught with their pants down as other on-chain positions tied to these loans are falling into the red and getting automatically liquidated by Aave. So crazy, crazy times when you think it couldn't get any worse for these guys. The liquidations are still happening. So I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, drop me a comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know, is BNB going to be bullish this week? See you in the next one, and I'll leave you with this funny GTX clip.
It's time to go all in and on. This is the fun that you've been looking for. The dream team has never left. We've got Kyle Davis and the legendary motherfucking Suzu. 3AC went bust, but who gives a fuck? This is the super cycle. And you know what that means? Send it to the goddamn moon.